So, right on time. Close meeting to order on March 31st, 2022, 6 o'clock. If we can have a roll call, please.
Ms. Bovet? Here. Mr. Sear? Here. Ms. Gamba? Here. Mr. Grady?
Here.
Chairman Letty?
Here.
Mr. Uranaga?
Here. Anybody online?
Nope.
Okay. We'll start with audience of citizens. Start here in the room with us tonight.
Is that right?
I feel like a broken record. Tim Thurston, Slow Drive. Just want to speak now because I don't get to speak later on, so I have to speak about the last meeting. I think it's very important. Instead of trying to simplify this report to the town council, the town council, you give the town council as much information, as much detailed information as you possibly can. I think I've already answered my own question. When the town council, before the town council meeting with the public, that the public had this, the time, this report before the meeting, 2 weeks before the meeting with the town council, so the public can go over. There are some times when you go to a public meeting and you're given a report saying, on the pages. I presume that public can either online or hard copy or copy this before this talk about town council.
Okay, thank you. What else? Anybody online up there, Jim? No?
Nope.
Okay. We'll go on to the next item and the approval of minutes for March 31st, 2022.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second motion and a second. Any discussion about it before I ask? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Yeah, that's good. Okay, on to our discussion, hopefully getting closer to the end. I think Jen, do you want to start with your appendix? And then we'll move to- or
No,
do
I
you wanna
think
start
appendix
with,
is after
like we
Dave's.
did before, we'll start with
Yeah,
Dave's revised up-to-date thing, and then I know Don has questions, and we'll get ready to go to. Right?
I don't have,
I don't know. What we do.
I don't know.
sir. Sure.
Oh.
It's revised. Correction.
Based on comments from this group at the last week, revised this draft, and I'll go through it page by page again. I'll try to pick out what was changed. Page 1 really didn't change.
Everybody's name's okay there? All right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
told,
I think I fixed
I
that
checked
2
those,
meetings ago.
Okay.
So that's page 1. Page 2, this table of contents did not change. Page 3 did not change. Page 4 on the table of contents at the bottom, appendixes of supporting materials, that's all new. All of that is new based on what we discussed last meeting. And Jen has prepared all the appendixes in that package, which she has tonight. And you can give it out when we're all done, we'll go over appendices. But Jenny spent a lot of time putting these together, so. All that information, that detailed information is going to be part of the report. It's all there. You guys asked for it last time, so it was in there. Let's see. Oh, it wasn't 35-page document, it was 34, because we took out Putnam. Putnam financials came out, so we shrunk, we lost the page. Page 5 is the $750,000 grant. That hasn't changed for a few iterations. It's the same. Page 6 is the same as the last meeting. Page 7, at the last meeting, I hadn't had a chance to fix it. But yesterday, I called every one of these places, and I used some of Donna's information from Excel spreadsheet. And I fixed all of this, changed what had to be changed to make it correct. Because it was an original draft from a few meetings, but I still have time. I'm shocked that I've done this to it. Got a hold of everyone and I fixed it. Now, if you look at the very bottom, that note, very bottom note was added. It says, please see Appendix D for subcommittee notes from tour facilities. So we wanted to add all the notes from tour facilities, and they're in the appendix. In one of the appendixes. So I fixed 7.
So just the Excel spreadsheet is in Appendix D,
No, the
That has
notes,
all
like
the
the
number-
the narrative notes that you guys gave.
the narratives.
Yep.
So can I just ask, on the Excel spreadsheet where we had all of the rates, or is there a reason why we wouldn't want to include it maybe in the appendix, Dave? If you want to do this, to me, this is one membership for an adult. But there's so much more, that people should know what the fees are for the other sites.
Well, and let me just say, I did use your sheet and I compared it to my phone calls, and some of the numbers were that they told me in the phone calls were different than what we have on the sheet for a couple of them. And so this is toward facilities. So we need a comprehensive list of toward facilities. Your Excel spreadsheet didn't have all these facilities on it. It didn't.
Right, because it doesn't have Glastonbury, there's no fee. Rocky Hill. the
Well,
same.
yeah, but that's important information for people to know. Glastonbury has a
Yeah.
senior center, community center, and fee.
Yeah.
So, and also, the second part of your Excel spreadsheet referenced the Ys, and they're in here, and they are also in the section of the report that says Central Connecticut Facilities.
Right,
So most of your information in your Excel is in here.
okay. Maybe you can show me where it's wrong, because, but that's fine, but just so you know, see Glastonbury?
Yep.
They call it a community center. They call it the Riverfront Community Center. It's a senior center. That's all it is. Mike can vouch. Jen, I don't know, you weren't there.
No, but I know it's just a senior center.
Tina can vouch for, it's not a community center, that's why there's no fee. What they do is they do have a rental facility, which is now the multi-purpose rooms with the big kitchen. But other than that, it's a senior center. I mean, what we would call a senior center.
That's something we always get the report done.
I don't care, but that's why there's no fee.
Now,
That's,
I spoke to Pam yesterday, Glastonbury.
yeah,
Pam, yep, she said it's a community center and a senior center. That's what she told me. I wrote, for everyone I spoke to, I wrote their names down.
okay,
So
right,
that's what Pam told me yesterday.
okay. I think Tina had a conversation, but yep, okay. Fine,
So-
it is.
Yeah, so that's what 7 is.
Okay, and then later on, Dave, just maybe email me where my numbers were wrong, because I do
Well,
want
it may
to.
not be, your numbers may not be.
Oh, I
wrong. It
thought
may
you said
be-
that.
No, it may be the person that told me didn't know what they were talking about. I spoke to this, I don't know,
Yeah, no, okay, so
but I don't mind, you know, I'll,
wherever they're, I didn't bring my sheet. with
yeah,
me,
I have.
But
Very-
I know we have it.
Yeah, well,
Time is
actually, right
going by.
now, you know what I found out is a lot of them said that they're all running promotions right
Right, they're trying to,
Yeah, till it was, I think it was like, they're all running promotions. I said, listen, I don't want your promotion rate for a month. I need to know what the real rate is for people. who sign
yeah,
up."
the wise, I know are running promotions, I don't know about the other
So
centers,
it
but
is, it's sort of, you know, but I do have the sheet, it's in here
Okay.
somewhere.
so the
Take a
only
while to
reason why I think the other fees are prevalent is when you talk about membership fees for a town funded center, right? I would think we'd want to have different memberships based on family, you know, one adult, 2 seniors, 1 senior, blah, blah, blah. And that's the basis for that potential revenue that we included. So I would like to see the Excel spreadsheet included, at least in the appendix. And this, it could reference it from here, just because this is a piece of information, but it's not the full information. And I think if the town is thinking of membership fees, they should look at something like that Excel spreadsheet with the towns listed. And to the extent that it's wrong, if Jen wants to confirm or someone else wants to confirm, I'm okay with that. I'm leaving tomorrow. So I wish I had known that because I would have reconfirmed it, but so I would like to see it in the appendix. I don't know however, I'm only 1 vote, but that's my feeling. Anybody have a problem with that?
Well, the problem is, we're basically in the 13th hour right now.
But, okay, so, but no one communicate. I wish, you know, we talked about dumping the Excel into the Word document. We're not communicating during the week. I don't know, Dave, if you've seen them, but I sent you changes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I
good. So we
printed
can
them
go through
all,
that.
and, I
Right.
printed them.
Because that's what I'm saying. It's like send, but you know, it's good to get communication. I know you wanted it during the week, so that's what I tried to do, but to insert it in the appendix, is it any problem? John? To insert the Excel spreadsheet,
That you guys vote on it.
is it a problem for you? Because I know you're a
No,
summer.
it's just print, it's
Does
just,
anybody have a copy of it? So I can look
We
at it.
had a copy
I
last
didn't bring
week.
it.
I didn't bring it with me this week.
I do know there are sites on it that we did not visit.
I'm sorry.
I think there's sites on there that we did not visit,
So there's fees on there of places we didn't go to.
I think. I don't have it in front of me. I thought you had it. I don't have it in
I
front of me.
don't believe, I mean, I don't know where I would have gotten the fees.
We didn't think we were gonna be going through this again.
When was that?
If anybody has the PowerPoint from last week, it would have been included in that.
It's in the PowerPoint?
Hold on.
I have the PowerPoint somewhere. That's too many folders now.
It was on here, we didn't just,
Yeah, that's, now that you mention it, that's the one I noticed.
Who was on there?
Plainville.
Oh, that's, you're correct. If someone wanted to include Plainville, but we can take it out. Just remove the power. You don't want to show it. Okay, so
See, it's on here too.
Tim has it.
Who's else
Those
is on
were,
it? Was
Tim, those were provided by John Benigni. And it was in our packet. You remember before?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So if you want to add it in, you just got to tell me what section it's going in. So I can make sure it matches Dave's report of the list of
I
appendixes.
don't care if we put this in there.
I don't, you know, I'm just
That's fine.
like,
Yeah,
I
don't care.
just, like I said, we just need to know locations.
It's information
It's information, yes,
that's
that's, that's fine.
already put together.
Yeah.
So,
so which index do you want to put it into?
So your
Which
options,
appendix do you want to put it into?
your options are on page 4 of Dave's report. notes created from this subcommittee, financial information. From tour and
Sure, if
existing.
you want to put it right on top of the notes,
Appendix
You know,
E probably makes the most sense, financial information provided to the subcommittee toward the facilities.
But it
So do we
wasn't
got- are we gonna
provided.
take
Some-
plain
somebody
building written out?
created that, so appendix.
somewhat they provided,
Yeah.
but, yeah, but that's okay, whatever you want, I don't care.
Appendix D would fit, right?
Appendix D would be our notes.
Put it right on top of the notes, because it's a summary, and you can, if you want, we can pen in for Plainville saying, you know, site not visited. But provided,
It's
So
just,
D?
it's just basically it's comparison of fees.
Yeah,
So
it
just-
has the
So
fees,
just put it in as it is.
So
Yeah,
Dave,
and
that's-
that's
Appendix D.
fine, because, see, you have, town-funded centers visited, you have Newtown, and Mansfield. And then you have separately local YMCA's or Meriden and Plainville, so just put it in as is.
Yeah.
You're not saying you toured
okay.
all of these.
no, I
And
did.
Dave, it doesn't change anything on your end.
No, it's cool with me,
But
I'm
I'm
okay.
saying
I
you
just-
don't have any typing to change.
Yeah, it's
just gonna be
okay.
changed. So
Put it
in
in-
D,
put it in the
right?
way it is.
You have it, Jen, I don't have to give you this.
I have
one?
it in my email.
Yeah, this one, you want it, you can have it, I got a spare
Yeah,
one.
I'll just make sure.
I just like,
Note of it in mind.
I have it in my
And then
email.
if it's a simple thing.
So
no
it already
problem.
says appendix D on
Oh,
the,
yeah, yeah, good.
on your touring facilities.
Yeah, so I'll
that's
put,
pretty
I'll put it on
We'll add
the.
it to appendix D.
It's fine. It'll be landscape, because I don't think I can make this portrait. That's fine. Couple other things. to the landscape.
Okay, that's page 7. Okay, that's good. All right, page 8 has not changed. Page 9, I didn't change, that's a nice page. Now, we don't have to change that one once. All right, senior centers usage numbers, this, I think Jen, the company provided this. I think there was a couple of little changes from last week.
Yeah,
Just
just,
to add
just
senior-
grammatical and,
Just grammar stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that that's okay, that comes just from like the source.
Yep.
So that's okay. And community center usage numbers, that's been here for a couple meetings. 12 is the financials, that hasn't changed, right? That hasn't changed.
So, if I could just ask,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe it's a different page because the other one, so I know with Dave, when I emailed you on Monday, and Brendan and copied everybody on, you know, just my thoughts, because that's what we were asked to do. On page, it's 12C, but I'm looking at it, and so it's different.
Yeah, because we lost a page, but you know what?
that's, no, I see what you're saying. That's,
Well, it's,
I know what you're talking about.
what I think,
Oh,
Where you want,
so it's D, for D. Projected ways to Berlin pays annual operating costs to run the 72,000 square foot. I just asked that we put fundraising, public and private.
you know, Donna, I read your email front to back this morning.
Yeah.
And I think it's best to handle, I think it's best to go through this page by page. for
Before we
now,
get to,
And then let Jen do her appendix, and then we go item by item. on your document, your changes. Because Jen was supposed to make a copy for us
yeah, I have a copy of Donna's email.
of Donna's email.
I didn't know if
and we can
everyone
go
read it.
through it item by item by item. I think it's better that way instead of
okay,
jumping.
it's up to you guys, Brendan.
Yeah,
I don't care. As long as,
get Dave finished.
and anybody else's comments or thoughts that you have.
No, that's-
Yeah, Donna was the only one that sent comments, so I just printed it in case everybody didn't read it.
All right, so 12 we'll get to again.
that one's side page.
Now, 13 is the annual operating budget prepared by the staff. And I think that's about the same as last time.
Yeah, it was just cut off before, so
Yeah.
we fixed that.
So fix that. And then 14, you guys talked about it last week.
I added in the 150 at the bottom. We'll do
Yeah, you
that.
guys wanted to add that QA and info, so Jen did that. Fix that, so that's done, I believe. 15,
Hey, Jen, I'm sorry, on page 13, HVAC was supposed to be changed to gas, that was the wording.
Ah,
You got it,
yep, no, you're right. I just,
it's not HVAC, it's just, but someone will ask, where's the gas number, so
yeah, no, you're right.
they go through it. Okay,
Missed it, page 6.
Okay. That's.
That's an
a
easy
little
change.
like That's easy. No, that's not. Okay, page 15, doesn't really change. Oh, who's part of the, all right, page 16. We lost a little bit at the bottom.
Oh,
We lost, we got half a 19 and no 20. So we'll have to fix that. This is the new one that has the impact for homeowners. This is from Kevin Delaney. All three of these sheets are from
just gonna
Kevin
move it up a
Delaney.
little.
good, he updated the numbers, yeah.
I don't know, I didn't, I just like. he gave it
The
to
debt,
me.
he lowered from 115 to 107, I see, so I didn't know where it came from, so as long as,
Oh, yeah, oh, that one. Oh, yeah, he lowered that, yeah, because
Yeah,
that
I
was
just
just,
gotta reprint.
that was a made up number. I put 115, 123, 123. and he
Right.
fixed it, 'cause I
Yep.
noticed that, I said, oh, that's wrong, I just made that up. So the 16, 17, and 18 are Kevin Delaney numbers, but we'll have to fix the
I'll just
bottom
reprint
one.
them, yeah.
so you're just gonna adjust them up?
Yeah,
So you
it's
get it
just
all. Thank you.
I just gotta trim it more. I didn't even notice it.
Okay, 19 did not change, that's the same. And 20 didn't change either. That's the same. And 21 is the same as last time, that didn't change at all, it's the same stuff. And, no, this is the same, this is Kevin's words, and we sent him this, and are you sure these are your words and you're cool with it? He said, yep, I'm good with it.
Can you put his title? That's fine.
Yeah, oh yeah, I fixed that.
Yeah, good.
And then 23, I did add a letter I at the bottom. Because I don't know who that said, somebody said, so we added in appendix G that our responses. Responses to questions submitted to Marion Director John Benigni. So his responses are in appendix G. Whatever he said are in appendix G, which Jen does. 24 is the same, that hasn't changed. 25 did not change. 26 is exactly the same as last time. 27, I like this. 27 is the same. 28, I added the thing about the interest rates, Tim, you said that last time. 28. I don't know when it was.
Try to keep up with you.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm used to the page.
Yeah, sorry. I was actually reading the page before.
Oh, yeah, okay. So 28, Tim, we added that bottom bullet.
Okay.
They're going up, which they are, so I added it. 29, Donna, you had a document last time about the pools. So what we were gonna do is, it said not evaluated under G. And then I said, geez, but like, should we really take it out totally? So I said, partially evaluated, please see appendix H. And so your document is in appendix H.
I know, I saw that. So I don't know what partially evaluated, meant, but the reason for that is so that they have the numbers so that they know what they could say.
Right.
As far as evaluating,
Well, I
I
don't
don't, I
think,
don't know what you want to say, so.
well, I don't think it was fully evaluated by this committee.
Well, we didn't, we're
discussed
not
it.
making any recommendation to it.
Mhm.
We did evaluate all the numbers, we went through all the numbers, but however, you know, the numbers are the numbers. It was meant to provide information so that if someone ever wanted to ask or consider, they have it. But however you want, you guys may decide your
So
word.
do you want me to say, well,
Do we want to pull that out?
You could-
then?
well, see, I want to reference it somewhere so they know
Why
where
don't-
they're
why
looking.
don't-
So we did evaluate it, we talked about it.
Right, well, that's why I said like I have questions about the document that you have. you presented. I said, well, what is the 150? There was $150,000 figure
I have an answer.
about updating of public grounds, something like that, each pool. And I don't know where that, I don't know where that figure came
It came from the capital budget that was submitted and it,
from. But what are we spending $150?
I have.
That
it.
was
We're not
repairs-
spending it
that was
yet.
repairs
so the
for
150 was for,
the
for
actual pool
facilities.
plants and stuff.
Okay.
it was for the facilities.
Tim thinks again.
Got it. Filters, motor, and concrete repairs.
For the two pool buildings, those are covered by facilities. And so facilities puts it in their capital budget, but they're the pools, they're the two buildings. So if they gotta repair the toilets or whatever, it comes from facilities. That's what those are, and that's the capital that's in the budget.
So if you guys want me to lease it, answer questions, then take it out.
You know
I
what
don't
you
really
could
see
do?
any
I would
harm.
leave it in the way it is.
Yeah, I would just say, okay,
We
sort of-
discussed, it.
we
we
discussed
discussed
it,
filling
you
up the
know.
holes,
You know, just,
cost of filling them in. Was part of that cost.
See,
That's,
Yeah, I mean,
Potential-
appendix H kind of
what we
answers
could
all the
say is-
questions they're gonna have.
included in, please see appendix H for costs, incurred and for costs and capital for the two outdoor pools. You know,
okay, please see appendix H for costs and expenses to abandon,
no, costs and capital.
capital improvement.
cost and capital. So you want me to
It's
take,
technically called capital improvement plan, so yeah, I would use that.
so, okay, so I'm taking out partially evaluated.
I would take that out.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means, so I would take it out.
Okay, so
So
it
we're
still is an unanswered question,
Well, I-
about the pools, so we can leave it right
If the question is,
Do we do it?
are we recommending they close any of the outdoor
No.
pools?
No, you guys aren't making a suggestion, so it's an
We're not-
unanswered.
there.
It's
Yeah, it's an
something,
unanswered.
it's something council's going to have to answer.
If they want to.
So we're
Information's
safe
there.
to leave it on this page, right? Yeah, just tell me what you want, I'll take out partially
let's leave
evaluated.
it on this page and throw it out.
Yeah, no, leave it there, and I'll say, please
Yeah, 'cause
see,
it's information. Yeah, that's all.
please see appendix H4, what do you want to call it, costs and capital?
Capital improvement plan.
Not costs,
Yes,
No,
it is.
cost and capital improvement plan.
capital improvement. Okay, so please see appendix H for costs and capital improvement plan. Okay, that's easy. Good, I'll do it. 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33. I will touch on the same ones you had last week. And 34 is the same, I didn't change that either. I just had to fix the page numbers because we lost the page. So I had to fix the page numbers. So, anything else? Yeah.
And here,
Be like 3 hours.
Oh,
no,
good Lord, more paper, spelled staple. That would be the hardest project to do. I felt that like I didn't see it.
So this matches Dave's page 4 of order. So, I mean, it's not much to, it's pretty self-explanatory. There is one thing I noticed on one page, but. So appendix A is Barbara's commission's statement of need, and I put when it was sent to the public building commission. Appendix B is the Parks and Recreation, which I also put when it was sent to public building commission. Appendix C is subcommittee tasks, just the attachment that was presented at the council meeting on July 20th. And I put on that it was assigned to you guys on July 20th. Appendix D, I'm gonna keep the tour facilities list as the first page with the square footage. And then I will put down a spreadsheet right after that before we get into all the notes. And the notes
Just-
are,
If I can, just
yeah,
it's so funny, you gotta laugh. So I flip and I come to the page, Glastonbury, and I just want to point out, you just have the senior center budget.
that's
And I
what she sent
just
me,
say
yeah.
that because that's all that is spent there, but I know that they told you, Dave, it's community center, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I just point that out for you. I don't care what you call it, but
So going back to the notes, they're in the same order as the list of tour facilities. And there's not notes for every facility, so I only obviously just included everything we had. Appendix E is budget information. Some budgets we had, some were sent to me via town website link, so I had to go on from the directors that sent them to me. And I tried to include what was involved in that community center, or like I said, Newtown doesn't have Parks and Rec there, but since our Parks and Rec department moving there, I added that in. Some of them are lengthy, but
Hey, Jen,
it's
I don't
it's what
think
they
it's,
gave us.
I wouldn't redo it, but Newtown, their fund balance, because they run their, it didn't come through in the copy, but,
Which Newtown?
you know, so it's in Newtown. It's the Newtown Community Special Revenue Fund.
The first page of Newtown?
It's actually the second page.
Okay. Oh, I see, beginning fund
See,
balance. Okay,
Because I think it's cut and pasted, but
yeah, I
it's-
can just move that up.
you know what? It's just a sum of two numbers, so I don't,
No, I can just, that's easy enough to move up and print one page over.
okay, so
So then Newtown. Then Branford is rec department and senior center, Wyndham. That's all they sent me. Civic and cultural has some of their parts and recreation, so I included that. Rocky Hill, I don't know why it got moved down, because I added something, so I just have to move that up. Putnam is this, I just asked Amanda for a clean copy because Dave's was written on and nobody else seemed to have it, so I just asked her. I don't know why there's a one too.
I have one too.
Appendix F is the 169 towns that you guys wanted to have included. And then G is the questions we originally submitted, which is the first 3 pages. And then the other page is the email from Donna that has more answered questions. And then H is the pool information. So just like spacing, I just have to fix. That's easy enough to do.
Job in short time.
okay,
Thank you, that's.
Thank you.
Last
Mark our
meeting,
copier again.
last meeting, we had nothing.
I have no idea how you guys got this put together like this so fast.
This was literally all I did yesterday.
This is unbelievable.
All I did.
Jen, your programming ideas with your budget, can,
Yeah, where do you, where do we want it?
with your budget, with, like in Dave's, I'll call it Dave's report, that would be perfect because it supports your numbers. You know, it's your program,
Of the written.
the written, this is how they would run a community senior center. And since that's the
Ideally.
budget that's kind of surrounding this, that's where I would put it. I wouldn't put in an appendix. It's important, so the public, you know, what would you do with, if you put this building in, what would you do? And then you come up with the numbers to support it.
So
3 pages, right? That's 3 pages? My program idea, do you have it handy?
2, 3, 4.
4 pages.
Do you want?
so this is.
No, I think I have it. I just want-
That's part of the notes for the annual operating budget.
So she's thinking after page 13, add 4 pages
Yeah,
of
but see, you know,
programming
it's like,
ideas.
I can't go through this, and keep modifying. I gotta change all the pages again.
Okay, so
I don't mind if you throw it in the appendix. I don't mind, you know.
I'll put it wherever committee
I
tells
can,
me
I
to put
can
it.
put C appendix, GHI for notes regarding, you know, I can say that here. But, you know, it's sort of like, it's brutal to just like keep adding pages.
yeah, that's fine, but
I don't mind adding it in the back.
just realize, before you come up with financials, you gotta figure out what you're gonna do. And that's what Jen and staff did.
I don't mind.
So just to throw in numbers, I always have a hard time, as you've heard several times, just to throw numbers in without trying to explain it. To me, it's like, oh my God, but read this and maybe you don't say, oh my God. Look at the others, you might not say, oh my God. But, so if you want to reference it,
So what if Dave references on page 13? Hold on.
Oh, maybe I do it there.
see Appendix I.
Oh, that would be good.
Well, we're losing appendix H, aren't we?
H is the pool.
So put appendix I, it needs it separate, it's,
Oh, I thought we were moving the appendix H, or the whole numbers to somewhere else.
No,
No, we're just gonna reference it to Appendix I.
right,
Okay.
right.
So if we do Appendix I, and then Dave says on page 13, because you have the space right at the
Yeah, I
top,
got room.
please reference Appendix I for,
Please see notes explaining
um,
or whatever you want to say.
yeah, it's programming ideas, but I want to make sure it's like, it's an idea, like it's not, there's
It's
no
as a-
guarantee that those programs are gonna be the ones we run.
Right, because it's
I
gonna
just
be
can't think
2
of a
or
way
3
to-
years
So it's
down
a
the road,
conceptual
right?
idea, like a
Thank you,
plan.
conceptual,
All right,
thank
so
you.
you'll figure out the words.
You have a title, just use the title that you have right now, so you don't have to retype it. Programming ideas for new community and senior center. Hours of
I'll-
operate, you know,
I'll
she
email you
has
what
the
to
hours,
reference.
she has
Yeah,
everything.
email me what to check
And we'll
in.
make a new appendix.
Yeah, we'll add an appendix I.
Appendix I. Because you're right, I wanted to put it in, but I didn't know where to put it based on the titles of the appendix.
Partially evaluate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took it out.
But I'm saying, just leave closing any outdoor pools, see appendix H.
That's what I did.
That's it.
Yeah, I took out that.
Simple as
yeah.
that. No,
And
Yeah.
if you could put the
Yeah.
title in, whatever appendix I's title is gonna be,
Yeah, I'm gonna email him exactly how to do that.
Yeah, you just tell me, I'll chuck it in. It's just that, you know, every time when I change something, that's always how it is.
and if it, I know that Jen helped, you know, would offer to help, or if it helps you to get it done.
So that is, so that's the appendix, right?
Yeah.
We done with the appendix, or does people have more questions? Whatever.
like it.
Like I said, there's some space issues on the budget.
Oh, no, I don't.
So I know Donna put everyone on the email, but I didn't know if
I read it.
everybody got a chance to read it. Because I know Dave hasn't changed pros, cons, so.
The merit and why, whatever you want to do on that, just for this year. It's only 2 months.
Oh, I know.
Plus, we should confirm with them it's okay to publish, because I know he was concerned about non-public information getting out, so.
Okay. Should give us your thoughts here that you were trying to communicate.
Okay, so I thought we were supposed to send you changes, you know, potential comments based on the meeting last week, so that's what I did. So on page 12, which is now item D, I called it item C because that's what it was before, but projected ways Berlin to pay annual operating, I asked if we could add fundraising, public and private. So we have property taxes, you know, annual bonding, membership fees, combination. But there's fundraising as well, even for operating. You know, donations, fundraising, donations, that it happens, we even get it, you know, to a small degree for Parks and Rec. But a lot of the centers that we visited, maybe all of them got donations.
I guess as I think about that, I don't think about fundraising as typically being used to pay annual operating costs. I think I see fundraising more as the ability to raise funds to build the project, which is what we talked about all along. We had a lot of discussions early on with respect to fundraising to raise money to build a new community center. This is the first time in all our meetings that I'm hearing that we want to use fundraising to pay operating costs. I think it's, I know that, Newtown was able to have part of their budget to pay operating costs, but they had an unusual situation that's not, we don't unfortunately have here. So I don't believe that that's the right word to use, because it's like, okay, well, are we going to have the police department go out and have fundraising to pay for their annual operating costs? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. It's not normal.
It's not a reliable source of income. It's not something.
Yeah, we're having trouble with
Dave
our,
makes the
yeah,
perfect point of, do we have fundraisers to buy police cars?
it's like, we're having trouble with our budget. We're not really making numbers. So let's have a fundraiser and see if we can make our numbers. It's like, it's not the normal thing you hear.
No, but the reality is, YMCA is actually that on as a whole every year to try and.
For their operating.
And I would imagine,
Well, that's
I don't know
all
if
of
we
their
have
operating costs.
what's that?
That's all of their operating costs through funds and donations.
Right, funds and donations. So I think that when you look at a community center, that could be part of what they do. So I don't know, I can't remember if we ever asked any of the.
Yes, so if
with
you look at the
respect to-
financials, Newtown does fundraising. I also agree, Dave, you can have donations. If you want, donations, fundraising. But Newtown does it. You can look up Wyndham. I didn't have Wyndham. I know Jen has it now. Senior centers do some fundraising, but, so based on our visits, more and more, I think, are doing it. I think it's a potential revenue. Certainly donations you gotta put in, but that's my opinion, and from lessons learned.
I don't have a problem if the group wants to do it, because as I look at page 12, it's like, all I gotta do is like add a bullet, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, put it on.
or we put it on, I'll put it
Yeah.
on. So include-
So you want to put fundraising / donations?
I'll put fundraising and donations.
Right.
I'll add it, that's easy enough. Include-
That's what we do on consent agendas in the town council.
Someone donated $10, has to go to
Yeah,
council for
yeah,
approval.
Donations
$50
for the
donations.
libraries,
Sure.
donations to the senior center, people donate all the time, so.
I just get nervous that it's not a reliable source. It's not that critical.
Page 24 was YMC option. I think you answered.
Yeah, we
what I-
lost a page, so you're actually on page 23 now, I
Okay,
think.
thank you.
Yeah.
Because what you did was, you said, please see appendix G for responses to questions submitted.
I have
And
it.
that's the written questions
And
that
those
you
are
were
the
referring.
two-page written questions. I will say, there's probably no better way, Jen, because I know you got to run copies. For someone to read the question, the answers, they're not highlighted, and it's squeezed down the question, so it's kind of tight, but I know it's a pain in the ass, because if you got to highlight everyone, but it's hard to read his answers from those pages copied. But you answered my concern, which was number 2. I already doing it, Dave,
Okay,
so.
all right.
He answered a different color. Or it was bold,
Her email was different colored.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
but-
saying,
numbers.
Yeah, it doesn't come through on the way that the copier shrinks things, and it doesn't come through. So I did want, but I thought it was important from John's commentary. He did say that any excess fundraising, including grants, would remain with Berlin and not be used for otherwise. I asked that question, And he confirmed that that's how we would run it. I think that's important to say right up front. I also think it's important to understand that he may move the Willard Summer Camp to the New Berlin Y. That is a question, and it's in the question, so if you want it to stay in the buried questions, that's fine. And the assistance from the town is not yet determined. He doesn't know what he wants. He talked about, he believes he needs something from the town, land, maybe other things, but he said such assistance is not yet determined.
So Donna, all three of these bullets, he said here.
The last two are in the questions and answers. The first one, it might be in the answers, I don't remember, but he did, I asked the question and he said all excess funding, let me look up, see if
Well,
it's.
the reason I asked is because this page 23 says comments below from the YMCA John Lewis 2/24/22 presentation. That was to us. So
Yeah, it's in here, Don. It's number 6.
Yeah, okay,
So
All right.
the building costs of grants are secured from Berlin, so they were remain financially sound.
right,
Berlin.
because we asked the
Absolutely.
question. Yeah,
So that's
I just
okay.
thought that those were key answers from his written questions. Quite frankly, I didn't re-listen to his dialogue from 224 to make sure we picked up all the important points, but if, you know, we've seen it enough, Dave, that I would never question what you wrote, so
no, I'm just
I just see the feasibility study, that was in our questions too. And he answers it in 2 pieces, so.
so can I just the third bullet, assistance from town is not yet determined. Can I put that on 24 as item D? Add an item there? You know what I mean? Because it sort of fits better on page 24 now when we talk about financials from Y.
Yeah,
Would
that
that
makes
be,
more sense.
would that be okay?
Yeah.
To put that third bullet,
I didn't know what C, I kind of,
You could
you know,
actually put
if
that
we give
under
him the
A.
land. Is C,
On-
if
on
we give them the
24.
land, Dave,
um,
that's what you want them to know
well, I
what
don't
we
know,
paid for?
well, yeah.
I don't know what, like, no one,
No, you know, I'm not talking about, I'm just
oh,
talking
I didn't
about,
know if you were
yeah,
putting that
I'm
with
not,
C.
no, assistance from town not yet determined, projected costs. So what I'm saying is, do you want me to add D and put town assistance? And then below it with a bullet said assistance from the town has not yet been determined.
On
That's
24.
fine.
And 24 at
that's
the
fine.
bottom, you know?
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, why don't I just put
Yeah.
it there?
And what's C for on 24? What is it there
That
for?
is 8C, that's.
No, I know that's the cost, but why it's saying land used on Patterson Way by YMCA? In case they ask for the land?
Well, because C says, yeah, well, it says that we can, page 8C says we can do a lease or we can sell it to you. You know what I mean? So that's why I just want to
And they may
reference
not-
like,
Right.
under the Y, like, oh, they may use the land on Patterson Way. And then it says, go see 8C and 8C says, well, we may sell it to them, we can lease it to them.
Yeah, there's all kinds of
There's all kinds of
options.
options, but it's sort of
I
like,
didn't know what you were.
it
trying to
should
do.
be disclosed that there's land that we own that they may want. But I will add that third bullet. Page 20.
And maybe you
I don't
make it
know
as
that.
part of C. You put
Yeah,
that,
I
and
just-
then you put, but if town is considering the land,
Well, this is different. You're talking assistance from the town is not yet
right,
determined.
that's
You're
any,
talking about, well, yeah.
no, any asset,
And financial.
anything.
I'm talking about financial. When I read that, I'm talking about financial.
When I said it, I'm talking about any,
Well, I got it covered under C and D both ways.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add D, page 24, add assistance. I'll add financial assistance.
any assistance, it's, he even, any assistance, he doesn't know. So,
So I will add,
we even asked, did you look at the parcel on Patterson Way? He said, not really.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's,
So I'll add the third bullet to page 24. And then, now let's talk about the first two bullets. That's page 23 now, go back to 22. I do remember him saying Summer Willard and Mike Five. I do remember him saying that.
Could you add that?
you want to put it to E?
Yeah. because-
Put it at the end of E.
Sort of just put
We would
that.
like to have playing fields, a running track, place prep. We may move, or,
Really something
see, we
like
can't quote
Oh.
him, like, don't say we may, because that's, I'm not using his exact words. But they may move the Willard Summer Camp to the Berlin Y.
Well, I don't mind. I can add it. to-
Are these are quotes, right? Because you're saying we.
Yeah, which sort of, I said comments, you know. But I could add G, H, I could add a J. Say
No, just
that-
add it at the end of E.
Okay,
Then you just,
Yeah, it goes well with me.
okay, add,
may, just use the words that I used, may move Willard Summer Camp to New Berlin Y for school.
That's under E,
yeah, I'm gonna add it there, yeah.
okay.
All right, I'll do that. That's okay. Where do you want to tuck the first bullet?
You know,
I
maybe
could
that's
put-
in your financials. Because that's,
And then-
you could put that under A and B, because they go after grants for operating and for building. So you could put it under each one.
Well, I'll just add E. I'll just add an E
That's
to
fine. Go
24.
ahead.
How's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
E. He said. Oh my. And that's-
What is this one now?
Oh, this is the first bullet under Donna's number 3, page 24. See, Donna,
Well, doesn't it say that in appendix G?
any excess
You
funds?
just had that.
Well, it was in.
All three of them do. Tim.
Yeah.
All three of them do. It's just these, to me, these were
How many
important
times are
points.
we gonna repeat the same thing? It
So,
says
oh,
it right there.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. All three of them do, but these are, to me, these were important points to bring out into your detail report.
so we reference appendix G at the bottom of 23. And this excess funding is referenced in G.
Yeah.
It's G.
Yeah.
So like,
So is it
Another
2 and
bullet.
3, and so is it your
Let's just keep
points
going.
that you have here on shovel in the ground. So isn't the points on feasibility. They're in the questions and answers, but I'm okay with that. I think they're important enough to bring to the forefront. I think those three that I asked are important as well. But again, you got, well, I'm only one vote. You can all say something. You either agree, disagree, take it out, put it in. That's why I sent it to everybody.
You could add it. Right?
I can simple, I got it right.
Put an E in there?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, put an E in there.
Yeah, I'm okay. That's no problem. I don't,
Okay.
Good.
you know,
It's
it's,
a good
There's
point.
enough room on the page, so we're okay
A
with
lot
it.
of those
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
He only
Most
gets
of-
stressed when he runs out of room.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
he's gotta start renumbering pages.
Oh,
where it
yeah.
goes.
At this stage, you know, a few
Yeah.
iterations ago,
I
it
don't
wasn't so
blame you.
bad.
I don't blame
I'm
you.
sort of like toasted
You
out.
obviously got hours and hours.
So, okay, any excess, dot. Okay, Jen, you can refresh me if I forget what time we're talking about,
Oh, yeah, sure, let me write it down.
right? Oh, you're not.
No, you were writing.
Donna's notes, item 6. John's
Three.
answers.
Bullet 1.
Or Donna's questions and John's answers.
Good night, 36.
Number 6.
Thanks for coming as always.
So all right, so I'll add an E.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good.
that's okay.
Um,
Just that we're excited about it, so.
Notes.
perfect.
Okay.
Number 6. That's good.
All right, so now pros and cons, right?
What else?
You want to go through the pros and cons of my email, or are you there yet, or?
Yes, we're there.
So what I did, and Dave, I sent to everybody the pros and cons that I put in the updated PowerPoint. I'm just trying to keep up so that we don't, with that, right? And then I matched everyone to Dave's numbers. And what I came out with is what I put on the email. So in town funded, number 7, it says mental health and wellness benefits. Could you just add socialization?
So you're talking page 30.
Number
Page
7.
30, number 7.
So
You have mental health and wellness benefits for users and youth development.
I guess is, I can add it, I do have it. But I guess it's like, then I have to add that to Y too, is pro, that's socialization too. But it seems like we're diving down into the weeds
All right.
too much.
Okay,
That's
so-
what my opinion is.
We're starting to state the obvious.
Yeah, I think we're getting into the weeds too much. It's like.
Okay,
like-
so look
like
at, guys,
So.
take my comments. Take all the comments. Dave, you obviously read these and you didn't do anything with them, so, and that's fine. 'cause
Well, you want to
wanted
know, I
talk.
read them this morning.
Okay, I sent it.
At 5
Right,
a.m. because I've been watching my mom for 7
Yeah, no,
days, so,
that's fine.
so.
And
I
you
did
wanted
read them.
everybody else, so,
And I didn't feel the need to add anything
Until everybody-
until everyone got together and had a voice.
so that's,
So that's where we
so
are.
that's what I'm asking everybody.
I would like
So
to see.
rather than me going through, because I understand, okay? I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I want to get through this. There was wording that we had on the PowerPoint. There's Dave's wording and these pros and cons. It's wording. Brendan's going to give the presentation. I'm okay, Brendan. PowerPoint, it's whatever wording you want to use because you're giving the presentation. And that's how it should be for the PowerPoint. So these were my comments. If everybody wants to look at them, decide which ones they want, which they don't think is important enough. There's some duplicates in here. I would suggest be removed. And then, there's some that probably I felt were missing. So these were your words. I had different words. I was just trying to use yours and mine. That's all I'm trying to do, Dave. I'm not being a PIA just to be a PIA. So,
Well, that being said, if you want everyone to go home with this and kick me, what an email in the morning.
I think it's, go through them one by one right now.
Let's just
Go
do it now.
Get a consensus from the committee, that way Dave can go home tonight and know what needs to be added. Do you want to add socialization to number 7? Someone else speak it on.
And we're gonna be putting it under the Y too.
Yeah,
I mean, socialization is totally cool. Want to add it? I don't care.
yeah, I think it's like,
I mean, I'm just
you
looking.
don't want okay.
Yeah,
Everybody
I read
okay?
these- I
Skip
read
number
these
1.
through. I read
Just
this
skip
thing
it.
up too.
Brenda
I don't think
doesn't
it's
want it,
important
Barbara
enough.
doesn't want it, Mike doesn't want it, skip it.
I don't
If
think it's
there's-
important enough.
Does anybody have a disagreement?
so we pass on.
So is
Okay.
number 1 okay to pass?
Number 7
Which would
is,
you
number
call
7, we're
7?
skipping. All right, number 8, can you add support local businesses to number 8? Near center of town or walking distance to 3 Berlin schools.
I'd like to.
Can you support local businesses?
It's one that we have in the PowerPoint.
We're
for a
gonna be
few
harming
weeks.
local businesses too, so do we want to put that under cons?
It is. I did, so on the back side, well, your second page of my questions. Yeah, obviously, it's for both. You have a little different wording under the Y, that's for both, yes.
But I'm saying you're hurting local businesses too. By having the town community center.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree. We're just doing the town funded.
So,
No, Tim's saying if you're putting in on the town funded pros, benefit, helping this for his businesses, he wants it as a con as hurting the businesses.
Which
That's
in
what you're
my
saying,
mind is a
right?
wash.
Why is hurting business?
You
Because of the
don't think
taxes.
that opening up a gym and opening up a cafe at this community center is gonna hurt local businesses?
Right,
Well,
so
how do you think the powerhouse feels about it?
I actually,
Or Sin
I've talked
Fitness?
to Jack and Joanne Banks.
Yeah, and
I'll
know
tell you
what?
how
I
they
don't
feel.
think I don't think they're thrilled about it.
Well, actually, I don't know. Have you talked to them? I'll tell you I asked them, they should be coming to the meetings and telling people how they feel.
But they're not,
So,
they're not.
that's right.
So I'm going by common sense. If we're opening up
Okay.
something that's a town-run entity that's competing with a business, we're not helping them. So it's a wash.
You don't
It's just,
think-
it's a
Okay,
nothing.
All right.
We're not helping
That's your
businesses,
opinion.
we're not hurting
I
businesses. It's
know
a
in
wash.
Newtown, they didn't put
Your
in any
opinion.
of those facilities because they had business next door, so they did reach out to the community. We're not gonna go do what they have different things over there. And that's not what they focused on, more of a pool and a gym. Another.
Yeah, it's a small gym.
Hey, if everybody feels these are complete, that Dave put together, Dave put these together. I ask everybody to take their time and read them, make sure you're complete. I have read them several times. I pointed out things I'd like to see. You can read them, you can point out things, if we're gonna fight over every one of them. Okay, Tim, I didn't see your comments. I wish you would
I'm
say them
happy with
too.
it.
Okay, so
I read your email and we're here to discuss it tonight, so we're discussing it. I mean, I'm just going through, I'm saying, I'm not trying to be a hard ass about some of this stuff, but seriously, I mean, can you add year round to the description of pools? They're indoor pools.
Yeah.
Who would think they're not year round?
I don't know. I don't know.
Really? This- I
But
mean,
that's normally the description that you have on there,
if they
but
don't know the pools are year round, they probably wouldn't be able to find the place.
I mean, it says provide expanded and year-round activities for children, and families. It's written. there.
It's right, but it doesn't say the pools are year round, so are we gonna get that far down into the weeds? That's just, we're adding stuff just to keep adding stuff.
actually, that's not my intent, okay? My intent is I took the information from our Parks and Rec Commission and from other places, and that's why those words are there, because that's what other people use for words. Again, not my intent. So,
if we go back to number 8, support local businesses, I think that we should probably pass on that one. That's my opinion, because if we're gonna say we're gonna support local business, then there is certainly potential on the con side to hurt local businesses. And it's actually in one of the pages that we evaluate that existing.
economic
Yeah,
development,
yeah,
right?
we didn't do that. So my opinion is we should skip on 8. I don't
Okay,
think- That's
thank
my
you.
opinion, but I'm one
Right, and I'm one,
and you're one, so whatever.
Tim's two.
I just want to ask a question about the businesses and you brought up Jim. I don't think who is gonna go to the community center to do workouts and stuff like that after the pool. I don't think that's gonna affect the powerhouse. I don't see how that would even equate.
If my wife is swimming at LA Fitness now and she switches over and starts swimming at our facility, does that affect LA Fitness?
It does, but that's her choice. She could go to Meriden.
Who cares
But
about
it's
LA
still-
Fitness? That's
She
in
could go
Newington.
to
Well, I
anywhere,
think
you
LA
know?
Fitness does.
No, of course
I'm just
they
giving-
do,
I'm
but I
using
don't
an
care about
example.
a business in Newington.
I'm using an
I
example.
do care about
mean, let's-
businesses in
let's-
Berlin. I do. And I do believe there should be public outreach to all of them.
Well,
The cafe that we have, that we would have, okay, if anybody's seen the cafes, including Rocky Hill, Jen,
That's no competition for anyone. It's coming in, offering free coffee and a place to sit while you wait for your program to
it's
start.
not that, but
Yes.
And,
And
you know, a
it's
couple
more
of
local,
pastries
That's
and that's it.
socialization. That's actually what it is.
What
But they-
I would.
But I think in the statement of need, they made the cafe bigger than what we had requested it, so.
What I would
think
say
that's
is
what-
if you're currently a member of a gym, there's plenty of fitness centers and gyms in Berlin.
Right.
yes,
and you have the ability to go to a brand new facility with a pool, because the other ones don't have pools, you might join. And that would hurt all the other gyms. You know what I mean?
I mean, the Nortons, for example, have talked about how they're members of Plainville, but if this facility goes in at 70,000 square foot as planned, I assume they would leave Plainville and come here.
So it's
Right, it goes
negatively
both
affecting
ways.
other businesses. I mean,
It-
to
it-
me, it's a wash. I don't know. if
You know
it's-
what? I don't want to answer, but you guys should reach out to Powerhouse. I have. I know what their answer is.
I think,
So,
if you look at the community center that we have now, Jim, what I understand from the tourism for the community centers, that gyms in the community centers don't rival and really don't affect the local traffic. Mansfield, they don't really compare themselves to what, they don't have the same equipment they do. But if you're gonna put a Y, why will adversely affect things? Y is usually gyms. We saw in Putnam, we saw in other Ys. So to me, it's almost like you put it as a pro for the community senior center. It's not a Y, you put it on the white ones, and it does adversely affect local gyms.
So that's not what our plans are. Our plans are for a pretty substantial gym here.
no, it isn't.
For the
square
community
footage.
It's a
center,
3,000, actually, it's a 2,750. We asked for 3,000 square feet for 2,750. Our current square footage, Jen, is like 1,200, 1,300, something like that anyway.
Double.
It's not the workout facility that you saw at Mansfield or Rocky Hill even.
And I'm sure you're not gonna have that kind of equipment either, that you
Well-
would have in a regular gym,
I
you
mean,
know?
there is some new equipment coming in, but it's not, it's, you know, it's
What's-
not for the
what's equipment we're looking
bodybuilder.
at? Regular gym equipment, I would imagine.
Yeah, like new cardio equipment, new weight equipment is the
What you would
biggest.
have
It's
in
not-
any commercial gym.
is it rival the stuff that we have in the community center?
Yeah, current community center 1,750, new gym is 3,000.
We asked for three, it's a little less, you didn't put it all out, but yes.
Yeah,
Well, I
but
like
newer
your point.
equipment.
Powerhouse
Really
is much
isn't been
bigger,
evaluated, there's too many
They have
different
a lot
opinions
more.
on it, I would just leave it out.
but
We haven't really evaluated that,
Tim says.
we're all
leave
over
it
the
out.
place on that one.
Number 8.
Know that.
Yes, okay. Number 10 is the year-round thing.
I don't see anything. That's just self-explanatory. I didn't know the rules were.
So, yeah, I don't see the need to add it because indoor, it says indoor competitive pool for the Y. In the community center, which is sort of obvious. I'm not super opposed to adding it to both of them. Because I do have room on that line. You know what I mean? So
you
I,
don't have to laugh, Dave, just keep going. You don't have to laugh.
oh, I'm saying,
No, I honestly, just keep going, move along.
well, okay, so we're taking year-round out. I'm okay with that too. So let's move on. Are we taking year-round out or not? I'm
Well,
thrilled.
it's on number 9. Provides
It's in here if you want
expanded
it.
year-round activities for children, families, and teens.
Combine those two sentences.
It's
If you want, it includes indoor competitive and diving pool, don't want, you didn't want to put water therapy pool in there. But, well, that's fine.
yeah, put in therapy pool. There's 3 of them there.
So, includes, you want me for number 10, you want includes indoor competitive therapy and diving pool?
Yeah, so because there's 3 pools, so
What's up to you?
you have a therapy pool, and what's the
Yeah, based on the
Third one is the-
actual recreational pool.
recreational pool,
So,
therapy and recreational.
So includes indoor competitive and diving pool as well as recreational pool and therapy pool.
Yeah, you can fit it up.
okay, so
As
number
well-
10, I'm adding
As well as
as
recreational pool.
oh, I can move, yeah, okay, as recreation and therapy.
recreational,
Let's throw a comment after diving. Diving.
yeah, before as well
As
as
well as recreation,
recreational,
recreational and therapy pool.
recreational pool and therapy pool, two separate
Right, the
pools.
competitive pool that you referred to as a recreational lap pool. People do laps, it's not just for competitions, it's for laps.
All right, so number 10 is includes indoor competitive and diving pool as well as recreational pool. I get that right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, but I'm not putting year round.
Well, you just used up all the space.
Yeah.
Move on.
Well, yeah, they're all indoors, people sort of know it. All right.
Combine 9, 10.
Oh,
Can we keep 10 separate? Pool's a big deal.
Yeah, we gotta keep the ball on.
Okay, moving along, 11, I fixed that. Yeah, 11, capitalized, I didn't fix that. That was sort of like- Had to be fixed, that was easy.
I think three was covered some.
Oh, you're talking about pounds now?
Yeah.
No,
Forget about
so-
the addition.
Right underneath, can you add another pro to the community saying intergenerational flexible facility to adapt to programs, activities as community changes? If you can add that to the pros, that'd be great. You don't have intergenerational in your pros. I think that's an important key to the town funded community and senior center. So
And
that's what I was asking, add another pro.
Do you want me then to add that to pros for Y?
The why,
The why
their
doesn't
mission
have
is,
the interject. I think that was the
Right.
point. for
the why is
the-
their mission statement is for social, responsible, whatever. I have it in the pros and cons, which you haven't read, I guess, but
Yeah, I don't have a problem with adding
so,
14.
Okay, so there's a number on that one?
Well, it would be
Sure, it'd
14
be
for you.
14.
Okay, 40, yeah, okay, I'm looking at that.
So
Okay.
Mark's on his email where it says, can you add?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that intergenerational.
Yeah.
Intergen. Okay. 14, okay, good. All right, folks. Are we on the con now? Town funded cons? All right,
But this one, I think is a good point because isn't there something that
Kevin said 0%
Yeah,
chance,
that's what I was-
so 3 has to be removed
good.
based on Kevin's
So that's
response.
remove.
Well, that's true.
Okay, I'll get rid of that.
Number 10.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with 10. The town doesn't really have any say in that. What happens to the senior center if it becomes vacated.
But if the senior center wants to fix their parking lot, or who pays for that?
you have to go through
It's
BHA.
it's not even a
and then it's-
matter, before you even get
to
to
be
payment, you
decided.
have to get approval from VHA, which they've
If
tried
it's a
many
permanent
times.
type of improvement, it probably goes through BHA.
So under 10, you want me to take out the senior center part? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
because the town doesn't
Yeah.
decide what to do with the old senior center,
Where's that?
right?
That's on page.
We're on page 31. so-
We already know what he wants to do with that, though. If we abandon that senior center, he's gonna do additional housing. He told us that.
But that's the BHA, not the
Okay,
town.
so we have nothing to
Yeah.
do with that. So,
Yeah, the point is that we don't.
No, we don't.
so under
Right.
10,
Just take 10 out.
no, we got to decide what to do with the old community center. We go,
That's
Oh, yeah,
correct.
okay.
I'm taking out the old
Just take out the
senior
senior
center.
center
Okay, out.
Yeah.
So I get that out. That's okay.
You might want to change we to town. Town must decide, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Town.
Yeah, change it on 13 too, Dave.
Town. Yeah, do that.
The old community center, I thought we already knew the library was gonna.
But the town would have to really look
Actually,
at that and
would
see
have
what
to
the
do
cost
that.
would be and if it would happen.
It would be a whole new statement in need the library has to
Yeah.
present.
It's not like the day we move out, they move in. That would not happen at all.
They like that.
Okay.
No.
That's an important point, current conceptual design. So, certainly step it.
So I guess the question that's going to, you want to add that under cons,
To the current, yes,
under cons? So the question is, that I would ask, if I read that, I would say, well, why is the current conceptual design beyond the statement of needs? That's what I would want to know when I read that. I'd want to know why.
Why was it
Who
approved?
approved it? How did we get there? And why wasn't the conceptual design brought into the scope of the statement of needs? That's the first thing I want to say.
so
So we have to explain it. If we're gonna say that there's, that it's beyond the statement of needs, we've got to explain
it
why.
actually
is.
was explained in the presentations. I think the council understands it as well, but the conceptual design includes future things that the architect saw in other facilities that he thought, I say he, the architect thought, should be included in any new community and senior center. So, like a third pool, he added that in the second gyration. That was beyond that, we never asked for that. He put in the social services food pantry. It's actually probably a very good idea to do.
I love
That
the
wasn't
idea,
part of
but
any
it's
statement
not
of
what we
need.
asked.
He put that into the center. He did other things. So, but he explained that. He said, you're building a facility for the next 30 years. You have to look out, you want to have it, and so it was accepted, it was the conceptual design. The town council, I believe, understands that. Like,
So,
when he presented to you guys, he said it to the public at every meeting that he had. So
so then they would know what's beyond the current conceptual design statement of needs.
I'm sorry, Tim, say that again?
So then if the council is aware of that, then they would already know this.
So it's
They
a
were
con.
giving them a report.
So we're just saying, with the current conceptual design, it's a con. It's beyond the statement of needs. That's all we're saying. What are the pros and cons of the conceptual design, right? Well, one con is it's beyond what people ask for.
But who accepted it?
No one's accepted the conceptual design. So it's a concept, that's all a conceptual design is. It's presented, people can pare it down, the council, whoever, they pare it down, they can add to it if they wanted to, they can have the architect go back and add to it.
Because if you accept a conceptual design, in fact, if you're right, but you accept a conceptual design, then you're accepting project.
Well, what I'm saying is who accepted the plans that were outside of the realm of the statement of needs? Because somebody had to look at the plans, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And say, okay, this is beyond our statement of needs, but we're moving forward with this.
Right.
No, they're,
Well, no,
they
but that's the thing.
presented it as a conceptual
Conceptual
design.
design is
It's the
basically.
the
just a
building
presentation.
commission,
I'm saying, how did we get here as a commission then?
the building,
If this thing is out of the, did anybody at any point look at this thing that they presented and say, this is beyond what we asked for,
We haven't
go
gone,
back and do it right?
but we're not there yet.
no one asked, because the town said, we're gonna take the conceptual design as presented, that's all, and give it to you
The town
guys
said
to
that.
study.
This technically is us advising the town should accept this conceptual design.
Right.
Because it goes beyond.
I understand.
Some towns might accept it and say, we're okay with it, thank you for putting those things in, we never thought about it, that type of
Well,
thing.
Well, is this really?
That's all it is.
And really
Or
to
is
dial
this
that back to, it's not necessarily the thing we're telling them to do or
Right.
advising them to do. We're basically putting it in the like, listen, this is.
This is more than we asked for.
Yeah, it's more than we asked. for.
Yes, absolutely it is.
I would put that in then.
Yeah.
And the
Okay with
planning
that one, Dave,
commission,
when you think about it.
planning commission was clear too
Okay,
for
I'll
the
say
summer.
that's almost
Everybody said.
One of those items, that is it, you put it on the last page.
We talked,
Observations.
Yeah, that's probably a better place, huh?
we did talk about that, and, you know, again, in the PowerPoint, we talked about those things that need revisions because the statement of need doesn't have it, vice versa, so.
You know, some of this is, like I said, this only a few weeks ago was the first time I heard that this is actually beyond the statement of needs.
Actually, it's been said, I
Yeah,
actually
the-
pointed out in every
the
public
architect did say
meeting,
that.
every public meeting, I pointed it out.
It's kind of mentioned in conclusions B, consider reduced facility size to lower project costs. For example, possibly eliminate third pool, social and youth services, a food pantry. So you could add right there, because these surpass the statement of
And
needs.
again, it's
Okay,
a
just-
con,
yeah, just
now
add
you're
it on
taking
to
care
that.
of that con, you're
Right,
eliminating
instead of putting it on the
something
con,
that
put
you
it in
have.
your
That's why it's a
conclusion.
con.
Okay, so I'll put that over
So,
on 34B.
Page 34,
Yeah.
after food pantry,
After food trains.
just put as this surpasses the statement of needs.
As this
Absolutely,
conceptual
right, that's why I asked everybody if they could look at,
design.
Janet, you probably didn't make copies of the PowerPoint.
No,
that I
you told me you
attached.
weren't working on it, so I didn't
So-
bring them.
I would ask everybody to take a look at the pros and cons and the conclusions
Yep.
on the PowerPoint, because it's there,
As
yes.
as this
That's why I
conceptual
was
design
attached.
exceeds the statement of needs.
Seed surpasses, yeah.
Well, okay, maybe, all right, I got it, so I'm not putting it under con.
Yes, I would
Well,
like
I'm
to see it on
putting
the
it in the-
cons. But the reason why you're recommending it is because you recognized it to be something that conceptual design isn't. It's a con. It should be on the cons list. My opinion. I would like to see a con added saying current conceptual design is beyond statement of needs.
I think it would work on those.
I just think it's a good fit under conclusions and observations, really.
I think it's
And
good.
and Donna's okay with putting it there, but she
Yes.
also wants to tuck in.
Yeah, for-
Yeah, yeah.
That's okay, I'll put it in. I put it in, then I crossed it out. and I'll put it in. Okay. So I'm okay with that. So now we've got to flip over this. document.
Why? Number 5. That's where we are, the pros of the why.
Yep, number 5.
You saying that, or we should pull that out of there?
No chance of bond rating downgrade. You remove the other one, I think you should remove number 5.
Good. Be consistent. I wasn't, missed that meeting, so I didn't even know that they were, well, I've seen it written here before, that representatives on boards for local wise, that's interesting.
Well, we're trying to move this along. I think it should stay in because it certainly is a pro. Those people have a fiduciary responsibility because they are members of the board of directors. I think that's a pro. I think it's beneficial to have those two state rep and state senator on the board of YMCA. It's a pro. So I just think it's a pro, so I would leave it.
I just think their fiduciary responsibilities to the residents of the years that they represent. And despite being on a board of directors of a company or otherwise, it should have no bearing in either one.
Well, let me just say that as a state rep or as a state senator, they have a responsibility to all their communities, irregardless of what they do. But if they're a
That's right.
member,
I agree.
You're right, right. But if they're a member, and that's handled under fundraising and grants, that particular page that says, hey, we can't do anything until we have a project. Once we have a project, our state senator and our state rep might help us. But in this particular situation, because they are members of the board of directors, and if the town were to select a Y, that would be a pro for those people going to bat for us up in Hartford, because they are on the board of directors. So I think it's a pro all day long.
Yeah. It certainly would be an assistance in fundraising too, just the general public.
Right, they could do it for town funded as well, because the reps.
We will.
But I wouldn't put them, I didn't put them as a pro being the rep, the three of them being reps of our area, but whatever.
So I would vote to leave that. If I was casting, I would vote to leave 15. It's obviously a program on the board of directors. They're trying to help the wise out. That's what they do. That's what you do when you're on the board of directors. You help and steer. And so,
That's right, and the same as being a rep for the towns, but
And that-
again,
and I'm-
I've said it, so it's really up to you guys, whatever you want to do. Leave it? Mike, you okay to leave it? Barbara, you okay to leave it? You're okay to leave it?
I'm good.
Okay,
Dave,
leave it.
in leaving it though, there's no N for Abercrombie, it's just AB.
oh, I'm sorry.
I just Googled it to make sure.
She's retiring anyway.
She'll be gone by the time
By
we
the
go.
time we
This
get to
is-
that,
Yeah.
she won't be
We
here,
could
too.
just go
That's right, we'll have a new person.
Okay, moving on.
Number 20.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening there, so we kind of got to pull
Yeah,
out.
I'm crossing.
So
Just crossing.
Number 20, just pull it right out. I know you got to go back and number one.
No,
That's
it's
a
okay,
good
but
point that
they could pay for it.
They could.
They
But
could.
you also,
Should
you
I
could
say,
give them a 99-year lease, just, but it's
It's,
It's
we
not,
didn't get
if
that far
if they
into it.
decide,
okay. You
it
want me
would be
to-
a pro.
So you guys want to release that one?
I think
I
20,
would just take that one out.
Okay.
21 should be removed too. Because the town wouldn't be spending the
Right, yeah,
money.
okay, I'll
to
take
repurpose
that out,
it.
yeah, I'll get that, that's out of it, okay, all right, 21. Okay, that's nice, that one. Okay. That's okay. Hey, if it's true, it's true, what the hell? So we're on YMCA cons now?
you have the access road. No.
This, we don't know. That's a nothing again. We don't know.
So you want me to ace that one? Or we may have to spend, depending on the deal we cut, I don't know. We may have.
But is it,
Right, but
But
it's
is it
not a
one of our
pro for what
cons
we're
too?
looking at right now, or I'm sorry, a con.
Yeah, I probably put it in there.
it's a con on ours, so you're either leaving it in both or taking them off. both.
I did put it in
It's
both.
on
ways.
both.
It's on both.
Yeah, it's on both.
Well, but the town, it should be, right? Because you know you're gonna spend the money. For the Y might have to. pay
If you
for it.
want another entrance exit.
The Y
Yeah,
might have to
determine
pay
if
for
we
it,
would
but
need
I would
one.
hope the town's not gonna give them that gift, or if they do, that's part of the gift.
Yeah, we don't know.
So it's not a con for the Y.
If it's a con for.
For the
senior
town
center,
funded, we would have to, right? It's absolute, we would have to do that.
If we wanted an entrance exit
If you
there.
need, if you
If we
needed
chose
an
not to
access.
make that access
That's right,
road, we
and
wouldn't have to
that's
spend
what
money.
that con is for. But in this case, if the Y decides to use that parcel of land, the town has to decide what it's gonna donate or whatever, but the Y, they are in charge. In other words, if they need that access road, they're gonna have to build it. That's why it shouldn't be a con of the Y.
I mean, I can take that parcel.
It's all part of the land. And we don't know how it's gonna be done. We're not looking at how they decided to do a deal with the Y. Like, I would hope the town would not pay for it just because we put it in, that we would pay for it. No one's decided that. And that would be all part of negotiations
I
between
cross
the
it off,
town and
yeah.
Y.
Okay, you guys want to.
Yeah, I think- yeah.
Okay, no problem, it's all right.
We just didn't spend enough time looking into that.
No, that's okay, it's okay. That's an easy fix.
You're looking for some ads here, Donna. I'm thinking.
Yes, I'm asking for the 4 ads.
Do we put that one too on the downside? Because we're not gonna pay taxes
So-
on it.
So number 1 is just specific to the Y. So the Y, there's no property taxes. I point that out, actually, there's a couple of people that have asked me that, just in passing. Well, the Y would pay property taxes, so I actually called the assessor's office and they confirmed they're tax exempt, they do not pay property taxes.
No, it's the same as one of those schools, not tax.
So if you give up that, it's kind of like opportunity cost, Dave, like you had mentioned, right?
So it's kind of like a reminder, you have to buy, pay property taxes like. the
Right,
town.
so- You
The town doesn't pay property
Yeah,
taxes.
so if I
on
put
either of
it,
those, so
I gotta put it on both if I put it, because if we're not, neither of them are paying property taxes.
So that's the town, we know, the Y,
People-
it's a
like you said,
private
most people
organization,
may-
that's, see, my,
Well, are you
get what you're
trying to remind people that the Y does not pay taxes?
It's-
so-
We're
so-
talking about constructing the building.
the reason why I brought it up is because it's a private organization. So even though private, and due to their tax exempt status, they do not pay property taxes. So maybe you give that land to another private company. They may pay property taxes if they're not tax exempt, but the Y will not pay property taxes,
Right.
wherever it goes.
So I could simply say that if we didn't build a building, community senior center, we gave the property to a private, enterprise, they would pay taxes.
A gym, sure,
No, so your point applies to both projects.
no, well, not for town funded, because town funded, no town building, right, pays property taxes.
Right, but there's the potential
That's,
that there's the potential, like you just said, if you give that land to a private enterprise, they would pay property taxes.
so a private for-profit enterprise, that's
That
the
would be
deal.
the same case with
It's a
the town.
reminder.
Right.
Why
So
is it tax exempt?
So I know what you're saying,
But if you can make that argument about why, then you can make the same argument about the Berlin Community Center. That if a private company takes that over, they're going to pay property taxes, and that's a con for the community.
do you want to, so to your point, do you want to put that in your opportunity costs? You want to explain that, because that's what your opportunity cost is. The land you're giving up.
Right,
without
that's-
any
yeah,
value,
I don't have
right?
to explain it, because people know what that is. They know what opportunity
Well,
cost means, it's just that.
So that's what it is,
This is
so.
a reminder.
But see, the point that I'm trying to make, obviously not good enough, is the Y is a private enterprise. But because it's tax exempt, it doesn't pay property taxes. If you gave that land to a private company, it would pay property taxes. That's the point.
So you think
If you gave that
people
land
still
to
think
a
the
private
liars
company,
pay taxes?
it didn't go to
Two
town.
people
Right.
came up to, I never even thought about it, but two people came up, different people, like off the street, right? And they were saying, well, the Y, it sounds like a good idea, they're gonna pay property taxes. And then I said, you know what? I gotta call.
Kind of a reminder.
And I did call, I talked to the assessor, they don't, and they're tax
I'll
exempt,
just
so
put it in.
that's all.
I will put it in because it's quite obvious to anyone reading this that when you say the Y doesn't pay taxes, somebody's just saying, yeah, well, neither will the Berlin facility.
I know.
So it's sort of obvious.
Stating
So,
the obvious.
yeah, I would just state it. So I will put that in there. That, 15. Taxes.
If you could include that it's a private entity,
Yeah,
that's,
I'll try to use your words
thanks.
as best I can.
Well, you can use them or you not use them, I mean, don't,
Well, I just.
I
said
know
as
you
best-
don't like the words, but
No, you
no, you
I-
don't, so just,
shouldn't put words in my mouth. You said, all I'm saying is I will do my best to use your words. I will try to use them as best I can. And maybe one of the words is inappropriate. I don't know, but I will try.
Confirm the
All right.
taxes.
if something's inappropriate, please
No,
let
there's
me
nothing
know.
inappropriate. Just that I'm gonna
Just
try my
just
best
let me
to
know.
to use your words.
Good.
Donna, what do you mean by town resources for the next one?
Staff, lawyers, money. I think in the cons, it's listed on the town side,
What is?
and unless it's the town staff resources required to prepare bonding package documents. And I think it's obviously it will be used for negotiations with the Y legal, so that's. town
Yeah, I mean, I
resources.
read them both as, but that's our job, like, it's
I read-
it's not
for the
outside
town
of working
side,
hours or anything, yeah.
I thought it was their job as well, but I said, okay, leave it in. And you gotta say on the Y, town resources to be spent on negotiations. And if you don't want to put may include financial support, don't put it, but certainly you gotta put the town resources.
I would actually just take that off of the cons on the Berlin
I would take it off both.
and leave it off of both.
To me, that's part of our job.
It's just,
I mean,
Even though
town resources are gonna be used even throughout the town funded project to,
Right,
plans
it
and all
doesn't
that.
matter what
we're
we
using town
do,
resources
that's-
now.
our job is town resources.
I would just take under the cons for Berlin Community Senior Center,
Number
town staff
16.
resources required for bonding package documents. I would just, I mean, that's normal process. And just leave it off of both.
So, is that what I'll do?
I'm okay.
Yeah, that's
So I'll
his job
take-
anyway.
All right, I'll ace that. Ace 16 under cons, and then we won't use it, we won't put anything on this one. Come on, okay, got that one.
Potential delay in construction coming in. Let's see. Put that in both of them, too, right?
Yeah, and that's already on cons.
That's on
So,
the town
Dave,
side,
I
so
would-
that's why.
I would add it on the Y, but use the same wording from 17.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So
Oh, there it is, yeah.
potential delay.
So it
Oh, yeah,
matches.
okay.
Yeah, just so it matches. So basically copy and
Oh, yeah,
paste
just
number
take 17 under the
17
Berlin cons.
Yeah, okay.
and
so
add
go
it
to
to
the Y
the
cons.
Y cons.
Number 17 from Berlin cons here. Got that.
This is good for the seniors who are the DHA would have to travel to participate in my program.
They would have to travel to the new community senior center too.
It's a
We're
con,
gonna have to
he has
travel
in the
either way.
cons. for the
Oh,
town
he has it
funded.
on the pro
He
town?
did,
Yeah, I would just, we'll have to travel, yeah, I think it's a con on
it's
both.
number 15 should be
Yeah.
the same.
So 15. can
So
copy.
15 is copy
So
and paste.
put number 15.
On page 2. Consistent, same.
If you want the
Well, wait a
name,
minute,
Dave,
if
it's,
the Y builds it, the seniors won't have to travel for their meals or for their exercise things or anything else.
they
Because the
would,
senior center will
They
still
don't
be
have
there.
And they, right, they don't have a fitness center, they don't,
yeah,
But
really,
they have
not-
activities for.
they have some activities, yeah.
they'll do like the water therapy.
And they have the
water
meals,
aerobics.
that's right. But they'll have to travel, again, I think the wording, to participate in Y programs /
Y program.
activities. Whether it be swimming or whatever they're gonna offer.
And Dave, instead of, this is me just being picky, instead of saying Berlin Senior Center property, can we say Percival Heights, which is the actual housing unit?
But everyone knows this, which one, what are we talking?
15. Seniors who live at the current Berlin Senior Center property, that's Percival Heights. That's the name of the housing unit.
Senior center.
I mean, you
Can
guys
put
can-
Slash personal heights.
Yeah,
Slash
Still call it personal school.
right.
personal
Did you go there? I went.
heights.
No, I went to Griswold. First I went to KGS. Then I went to Griswold. I was the first.
So that's what
class.
that,
Okay, so you do want me to move 15 from cons?
Not move,
Not
duplicate.
move,
I mean, copy.
Duplicate.
Yeah, Add the same
Should
thing
be on
to
the
the
copy
wise
and
case.
paste.
Just add the
On
same
the
thing.
same one.
And the last one is the same, it's a con for the town, it's a con for the Y too.
Yeah, that's number 17. I think you're.
So the abnormal thing?
Yeah,
Yeah. hold on,
Got that.
hold on.
Yeah, we moved that already. We skipped over the, that's good.
Yeah, 17, yeah, abnormal stuff. Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did, I did.
on the Ys. The Ys con.
Jen, my question to you too is, once you submit the report to the council, is that when the, is what we generated then? Or is it
So-
after it's on the agenda?
in order for it to be on the website, I have to hand the completed document to Kate. Kate will upload it to the website, I mean, via PDF, obviously. Then, once she has the link on the website, I copy and paste it there. So it's actually gonna be on the website before it's physically given to town council. So Joe Schmo could go on and see it in the time it takes me to give these to Christie and get them out to town council after Kate puts it on.
Posting the agenda ahead of time.
Right, that's basically what.
But you know what I think about this? Is it up to us to post it? on the web?
It's a town council
You know what I
decision.
mean? Like, we shouldn't
It
be-
is.
Yeah, we
It
can
is.
probably.
Yeah, so maybe you give it to town council and
No, we
then
shouldn't
town
do
council
that.
will
They don't
decide
want us to do any public outreach.
No, so I think,
if they want, if
Should be
the public wants a copy, they can go to Christie's office.
Well, let me ask you
If
this,
council's okay
once
with
it
that,
gets put on the agenda,
then it's public.
then it's public.
And then someone can, if they don't have the capability to view it online, they can go to the
Unless-
town manager's office and ask for a copy. And I could provide Christie a hard copy so she has it.
So it's-
Unless they do it in some other fashion, right? They don't have to make it public in certain times. If it's a draft, in other words, or whatever, they don't have to make it public.
Well, it would.
If it's on the agenda,
It would live in the agenda as something that the town council needs to see.
It's like Dave's
Right.
report. We didn't have to post these reiterations.
right,
When we don't post them as part of the agenda.
right, but I do agree that council should be the one to decide if it's gonna be on the
Sure.
website.
Well, I just asked because.
I would take the reference off.
yeah, I'm gonna take that off.
I would take the references off
Forget it.
and even if
Let them
when
figure it
it's,
out.
since they want to do public outreach, you guys should be the ones to decide how it gets handled. So
Yeah, right, not us, yeah,
It is
because we were
good when they-
overstepping our bounds, I was overstepping our bounds. It's not up to us to post it.
Yeah, we
Give
gotta
it to
let
those
them.
people, they do what they want.
I was just thinking because when the affordable housing presentation, it was 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right,
before it was presented.
which is what your plan
So
is with
it's-
this.
So it's kind of the same.
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Let's look the other way.
I want to know, once we submit the report and it becomes public, then we are free to speak.
It won't become public until the town council has it on their agenda.
Right.
So if
that's
we
what I'm
give it to
saying.
them tomorrow for sake of argument, but it's not on the agenda until the 19th, it won't become public till the 19th.
And then
Barbara-
once they post it, it's then public.
And they won't post the agenda until the Friday. before. Usually when the agenda is posted.
So when the meeting is done, then.
Right, the agenda, every agenda for a town council meeting, or any public meeting for that matter, has to be posted 48 hours.
24.
24 hours.
Learned that as I got really nervous yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I didn't post the agenda.
They could do it, right? The mayor could decide, let's not put it on the agenda. Give us the report. Hand out the report. This is a report. You've done, please read it. We'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting. And that's what they could do. We've done that as well. So again, if they feel a reason that they want to see it before, that's how they can do it. If your question is, when are we released? We have to wait for the council to say we're done, right?
Yeah. that's right.
Barbara, did you have other?
Yes, I had 2 other questions. I wanted to know when this is presented. Brendan, are you going to be there to?
I'm gonna do, I think, just what George did last night, or the other night, or last night. that was
Last night. Yeah.
It seemed like it was long.
Yeah.
When we presented the town council, I'll just summarize.
George is the chair of the Affordable Housing Plan. So
He gave
last
a nice
night,
presentation
he
to the town
presented
council.
their plan.
And their packet was twice the size of this.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Well, that is my appendix then.
Yeah.
Oh, I did listen through the voting, but I didn't hear the
Yeah.
rest.
So George went up and presented basically the report that they had already handed, just kind of summarized.
And I have another concern too. When I picked up the paper, I see that there's $1 million going to the YMCA in New Britain for repairs. Now, they said they're in bad shape. They have a lot of problems up there, so they're giving them $1 million to straighten out and secure their plan. Now, I'm concerned about that, because if we have the Y here, who's gonna give them $1 million to take care of things? Or we don't have, they have broken windows, they have faulty heating systems. We don't have that in our town building. So I have a concern about that, and it's right here in the paper. So if anybody wants to read it, that is my concern with the Y.
Why is it ripped through though?
Is that, so the $1 million that we're
That's part of
given,
the problem. is the press.
they
That's
basically
all.
just
$1 million
say,
to grant.
They
That's what I
gave
thought.
them $1 million
Which we-
because they're in such bad shape. They said it's as cold in the building as it is outside for their gym. Their windows are
I
broken.
think our town buildings need enough work that if the Y came in, the town would hopefully put precedent, our town
So
buildings.
that's
Something
My point
happens.
to you is, our town does not need this kind of work because they keep up the buildings.
Right.
That's my point to you. If the Y is not keeping up the buildings,
oh,
why do they want to come into Berlin and do another building? And I had another thought too. The Y was presented Moreland Hill. They said they did not have, didn't suit their needs, but they also did not have the money to go into Moreland Hill. So finances seem to be a little bit of a problem here. So that's my concern with the Y.
I think that's a fair point. You know, it's, again, one of those things with the Y, with any business, you take on some risk and you would, you know, the council in the negotiations, you would hope that there's somehow that they can, I'll say, protect once they know these things. So that's a good public document. Maybe we put in our minutes.
Yeah, we need to.
I would like to see it.
And it's front page, so it's gotta be true. And there's another whole article inside about this, so.
You know, it's
a
something that they
concern to
can
me.
follow up with John Benigni and understand better. Right, I agree, I think it's a fair point. So Brendan, when you do present it to the council, could you let us all know? so
Oh, yeah,
we
I'll
can be
try and-
there?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's what we kind of need to, I see everyone's
Yeah.
wrapping up, which is great because
However, we got some
it has been
changes.
wonderful working with all of you, but it's, you know, we've done a lot this month alone, I mean, in March, so I'm happy that we're coming to the conclusion and we're finally gonna be able to present to town council. But that's what we need to decide. There's obviously some changes that need to be made. Are you guys giving Dave the authority to make those changes, get the document to me? I'm copying it. Am I giving it to Christie and saying, give this to town council members? Am I giving it to Brendan? Like, how are we, what are the next steps?
You know, given the fact that we're short on time, I think council should get it as quick as possible. I don't know if they're around on Friday, and I think Board of Finance should have it so they can start reviewing it too, because they don't have time. Because, you know, we don't have a lot of time for them. They don't have a lot of time to make decisions. Sooner they get it, I think the Board of Finance has to, is part of the voting, right? They have to.
For the
They do,
referendum.
however,
For the referendum. for the
remembering my
referendum.
September meeting, you guys report to the town
Right,
council and town
right,
council
it's
only.
council to turn it over to them.
Oh,
So it's up to
Say-
council.
the council would say we should.
Right.
But before we even get
Because they
there,
may decide not even to want to push it towards a referendum or whatever, so they may not involve the Board of Finance.
but before we even get to that physical aspect of getting the copies to them, there are a few changes. There's a few changes I have to make the appendix. Are you guys,
Yeah, so why don't I get a motion to
Thank you.
accept the changes that we just all went through?
and allow Dave to make his changes, me to make my changes? I will finalize the document as one thick packet,
So I
as
make a
long as you guys
motion,
are okay with that.
make a motion to allow Dave to make the changes we discussed in the meeting to the presentation to the report. And to allow you to make the changes to the appendix as necessary.
Second.
And then submit, which we say, then submit to,
Forward to town council.
to Kate or to.
Christie.
By Friday, right? You're gonna do it by Friday.
Yeah, I am not in tomorrow until about 3 o'clock, but I'm in all day Friday. So if Dave can make his changes and get it to me Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, I can get them to Christie before 1 o'clock and say, basically, I mean, unless you want to, it's up to you. I can scan it and send it to you and you can send it to Christie as the chair. It's whatever is easiest. Or I can walk up 7 copies and say, these are for town council members. Please get them in the mail.
That would work.
That's fine.
And then
Can we
Could we get
go on
copies?
that portion just to make
early
sure?
next week, or I know you're not, in, but if someone could make copies or whatever, I don't know how we're gonna get.
Once it's done Friday, I could scan it and send it to you, and I can also tell Christie, some of the committee members may want a hard copy. I told them to come see you.
Right.
Okay.
And not to duplicate it, we just need to.
Right.
6.
And you should have one, Jen.
Yeah, I'll have it on my computer. So you have a motion for Dave and me to make the changes. And what else do we have?
Make the change to.
And get it to.
And
the
then
town
have
council.
Jen submit to town manager's office for distribution to council.
Correct.
That's, as long as you guys are okay with that, I'm fine with that.
As soon as possible,
It's,
because these people have to.
It's gonna
have-
be Friday, she said. She's out till
Yeah.
tomorrow. Till
Yeah,
3,
Right,
so
right,
I
no,
know.
I understand that, I
Yeah.
understand that, it's just that like, I don't know if any
Perfect.
counselors are around Friday, if they're around, you know. they
If I can
come
get it to Christie before the mail goes out, it'll go out in Friday's mail. Or do you think, I mean, you guys know the council members. I mean,
When's
is
your
it
next
easier to
meeting?
get it in
Did
the
you get it
mail
the
or would
Friday
you just
before?
swing by and pick it up?
in the mail. I would
Or
say
we just have a few days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're not, we won't have a meeting this week. so-
Well, Chrissy, she'll check with the Roche on how to distribute it. I'm sure the mayor will be involved, so.
Yeah.
Somehow
Well,
they'll
yeah,
figure
the
it out.
mayor will-
They'll know it's available.
Brendan, tomorrow when I get in, I'm gonna email Christie and Roche and I'm gonna CC you on it.
Okay.
And saying, hey, tomorrow I'm coming up and gonna give you guys the report. The committee would like town council to have it in their hands as soon as possible. They're bringing by 10. Can we get it in today's Friday's mail? Okay.
All right, so we're all in favor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to actually take a vote.
Yeah, we're all in
The
favor.
motion was on the floor. All in favor?
Aye. And then Brendan,
I just wanted that on the record.
you had a chance to talk to the council last night about a meeting,
Yes,
public?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that.
the mayor said that, once we're done, that he wants us to present to council. So if he wants to make it, if he wants to put on the agenda for the 19th, that we assume we could do it as part of the presentation. Then after that, the council will decide whether or not.
And then for the PowerPoint, I'm leaving tomorrow, I'm back Monday later. Do you want me to update the PowerPoint, send it to you, and you can do what you want with it?
You
or-
can do that.
And again,
We'll get this to the council this time. If they really want us to do that.
Okay.
I'm looking at how George did his presentation. They didn't have a PowerPoint, but if we need to have it, we'll have it in the back pocket. There we
Sometime
go.
this next week, and you can change the wording, I mean, it's, you know,
Wouldn't be bad to have one prepared, but see what they want to do.
if you're gonna give it to the public, you want something like that. Eventually,
Good.
probably next Wednesday, Thursday, so
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Thing, what's good in the order? To adjourn?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good